Moment. All right, hello, everybody. Welcome to Wapiti Wednesday live Q&A for July 31st. Guys, we're 29 days away.
Yes.
Yay.
No, 29 days. So, all right. So, as you guys can see, we have a new America's Most Wanted face in the crowd, Mr. Kevin McFarland.
Hi, Kevin.
Kevin
Welcome.
is with Idaho Backcountry Veterans. And so, Kevin, I'm going to pull you on the carpet for just a moment to have you talk about Idaho Backcountry Veterans and let these fine gentlemen that are live and those that are watching the replay know a little bit about your organization.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, thanks a lot for having us here and everything, putting this together. And so Idaho Backcountry Veterans is a nonprofit organization, and we take veterans and their families outdoors with other veterans and their families, and we build them a support community as well as take them on awesome adventures. And so we do that free of charge. And yeah, we've taken out about 280, 290 veterans in 2023. We've been around since 2017.
Good job.
So
Good job.
what's your criteria for what veterans you take on outback adventures?
Sure. Yeah, the criteria is that you at least made it through basic training and completed your term of service. And that's really the only criteria.
Okay.
So if you guys know any veterans, good program, gets them around like-minded individuals, good support group. We know 22 veterans a day, too much. We always hear the number 22. So any support groups, and the one thing that I don't know if you guys heard Kevin say, but it's not just the veteran, it's the veteran's family too. So it actually creates a whole entire support group. Because that's one thing with some veterans, they really feel like they're out on an island and isolated. And by getting the family involved too, it builds kind of that camaraderie and also kind of builds, a good strong relationship with the family as well too. And knowing that they have other support families that they can lean on and find help in.
Yeah, it connects them. They figure out that they're not alone, and there's actually more people in their area. And shoot, we've made friends with people all over the U.S. too. So, yeah, my son and the guys from Mississippi, we're all buddies and all that. So,
And I did not just bring Kevin in here tonight for him to talk about that. He actually is a member of the Elk Calling Mastery Blueprint and a member of the Wapiti Live Q&A crew also.
Yay.
So,
Mhm.
so he is spending countless hours watching useless information of me just talking and spurning nonsense on videos. So
That includes us too.
I know, but see, you guys are always stuck with me each week. All we're missing is Mr. Jim tonight, and then we have the normal crowds. But okay, so let's
Good to have a new face, though.
Yes.
I know. With
Yes.
all the new members, what's funny is I get some emails from some guys, and they're like, "Hey, I always want to join the Wapiti Wednesday live Q&A, but every time I log into the online course, I can't find the links." And I'm like, "That's because they're emailed to you." Oh, I haven't seen them. Check your spam folder. So I've had to double check a lot of emails lately. So hopefully, but anyways, so tonight we're going to talk about early season. And for some of you, you may have experienced this before. So before we really dive into strategies and this and that, I want to start with where we're at right now. So we're knocking on the door of 1st of August. So basically what's happening is the blood supply is starting to get turned off to the velvet. So that velvet is going to start getting dried. It's going to start getting itchy. They're going to start rubbing and turning hardhorn. Now, the thing is as soon as that antler growth stops and they get hardhorn, the testosterone levels start rising. So some bulls that rise faster than others. That's why you can get into some good bugling action at the start of the season. Just because they're still kind of establishing their pecking order, or they're still rounding up cows, But some bulls, and once we really get into this discussion, you'll kind of nod your head and go, "Ooh, yeah, I've seen that before. I've experienced that before." So that's kind of the preface right there of what's happening right now and what's going to happen between now and season is they're going to start rubbing the velvet off, get hard horns, start establishing their pecking order, and start looping up cows. Now we get into the early season. And let's see if you guys have ever seen this or experienced this. You're out there hunting, it's the first or second, maybe even the third day of season. And you haven't heard any bugles, and all of a sudden you look across the canyon from you, and could be a draw too, and here's 2 or 3 bulls that are up feeding together. And you cow call, and they just kind of pick their head up, look at you, and go back to feeding. You bugle at them again, they pick their head up, look at you, and just go back to feeding. They don't answer, they don't show any interest, and you're like, what the heck is going on? That ever happened to anybody? You ever seen that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
$1 million question. Why? Why are they acting like they're not interested?
They're not all that interested.
Why?
It's too early in the season, too early in their rut.
Low testosterone,
Bingo.
low testosterone levels.
Bingo. That group right there, their testosterone level has not risen. So it's not to the point. They don't care about fighting. That's why they're still bachelored up together and they're still feeding. They're not interested in cows. So that's why they're not, running around looking for cows or, responding to your cow sounds. So the mistake that a lot of callers make is they will sit there and go, oh, we're going to call to them until they get excited. And usually what happens is they just continue to feed and end up feeding and wandering just right out of our lives. The problem that happens is a lot of people are calling to them. So they don't care. They've already shown that they don't care. They haven't responded to you. They haven't really paid much attention. Maybe they picked their head up and looked your way once. Now, the cool thing is you can actually get them interested. So the key that you want to do here is you want to make sure that you're set up close enough to them on their same elevation. So you want to make it easy for them to come over. And basically, you guys have heard me talk in the past that when you're doing a calling sequence, you're basically telling a story, right? You're not per se calling to a bull, you're just telling a story. So it's almost what you're going to do in this situation. It's almost like you're setting up doing a blind calling scenario to where you're telling a story. The only difference is well, it's not really blind because they're right there. So, and this is where the breeding sequence is really, really effective. So, but you have to do it a little differently. Meaning you're going to start with, your cow sounds within the breeding sequence. Miny mo. You're just going to kind of do something a little bit like that. And you're going to wait 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then you're going to repeat that again. You're going to repeat this same pattern until you're about 15, 20 minutes into it. Now you're going to introduce a bull into the situation. And the only way you're going to introduce this bull and then do some raking. That's it. Because now basically what you've done is you've painted a scenario that there's a small group of cows over here. They know you're over there. Now, when you bring in these huffs and grunts and raking, now you've introduced a bull into it. And what you've done here at this point is now all of a sudden these bulls start getting that fear of missing out. They're like, "Ooh, another bull has come into these cows." But who is it? Because you haven't done any bugles, you haven't done anything like that. They don't know if it's Fred or George or Sam or John or whoever that they've spent all summer with. They just know that another bull has introduced or come into these cows. So, and that's all you're going to do is just start kind of repeating that. Now, you can go ahead and you can add some little whines to it. But the biggest bull vocalizations that you want to focus on are those huffs, grunts, and raking. That's it. So, um,
Do a whine. Do a whine.
that's it. There's not a whole lot to it. So, now, what's going to happen a lot of times, is it's interesting on this because those guys may not show a lot of interest or they might kind of come your way a little bit. But if there's another bull in the area that his testosterone level is raised a little bit more, he's going to start bugling because now he's interested, going, hey, I wonder if there's a hot cow over there and this other bull that snuck in, and now this hot bull or this bull is kind of sneaking in on this hot cow. And so he's going to start bugling. Ignore him. Stay in your story. Keep telling your story. Just that bull, because again, you haven't tipped your hand on how big a bull you are. Now, as that bull kind of starts getting a little more ramped up, his testosterone starts rising. That's going to get these other guys that were feeding that really didn't give you the time of day. All of a sudden, they're going to be like, you know what? I really wasn't interested in cows. But now that it's starting to look like there's a hot cow over here, you know what? Yeah, I am interested. Because remember, bulls only care about two things: surviving and breeding. So now you're giving the scenario and an opportunity for them to breed, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, okay, maybe I am ready for this. There's no, there's no sorry, honey, I have a headache tonight. There's okay, yeah, I, I'm good with this. So, okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
How long at a time do you do the cow calling?
So normally with the cow calling on that, and you'll you'll find more as you get through the course. There actually is in calling sequences. There actually is 3 or 4 videos on the breeding sequence. So, but I'll just do 3, 4, 5 cow sounds like that. Um, Now, once I have a bull that is now kind of starting to bugle at me, now I can start turning up the excitement. So I can start throwing a lot more cow sounds in. I can start raking a little bit more aggressively. I can take those huffs and maybe add some chuckles to it, which just is another way to elevate the excitement level on that. And now notice I haven't called to that bull at all. I haven't paid attention at him, especially if he's out at a distance. Now, once he starts getting closer, you guys remember when we were talking about a tending bull versus a defensive bull? So once that bull starts getting closer, now I'm gonna start kind of, you know, bugling his way. Get a little more volume, get a little more growl in it, because basically now I'm telling him, dude, stay away. I don't want you over here. But then also, I'm going to take those cow sounds Now towards that bull, I'm going to say like, okay, he doesn't want you here, but I want you here because I'm really not too excited about this dude. You might be a little more dominant bull, so yeah, why don't you get over here? And so now you're kind of playing with this bull's emotion because one of these elk is telling him to stay away, where the other one, the cow that actually makes the decision about the breeding, saying, no, wait, come on over. I want you over here. And so it turns into this no, go away. No, I want you here. Go away. Come here. Go away. And all of a sudden, his aggression level, because he's going to get frustrated and angry, his aggression level all of a sudden goes through the roof. Now remember, this all started because you saw 2 or 3 bulls that were feeding that wasn't giving you the time of day, right? Well, what do you think those guys are now doing?
Ain't
They
it
get interested.
They are. And
Yeah.
that's what's kind of fun on these early season scenarios, because you don't know which one's going to come in first. You don't know if they're going to show up all at the same time and all hell's going to break loose. If you're in a caller shooter scenario, your shooter's out front focusing on one bull, but I can guarantee those 2 or 3 that were feeding that weren't paying attention, those are those backdoor bulls that come in on your caller. So that's why, your caller, or if you're in a group, that you could have, a shooter back there with your caller too. And this is where we have done this in the past, where all of a sudden, man, it just gets really, really exciting, and then things calm down, and we come together, and it's like, oh man, it was awesome. That bull came right up into here, and he stopped right there, and I pinwheeled him, and all of a sudden you can have the guy at the back door that goes, wait, you shot? Yeah, why? Because I shot a bull that came in the back door, and now all of a sudden you're like, crap, we have 2 bulls down, it's 95 degrees, and what the heck are we going to do to get these things off the mountain and cool? Which is not a bad, that's not a bad thing to have. It just makes for long days. So,
And you got it less than an hour till dark.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, does that make sense?
Mhm.
Complete.
Good. It's good.
So another thing that I kind of want to touch on, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and there's actually 2 things that came up in this conversation. So, because we were kind of talking about, hunt up, pack down, which was my motto for years. Start in the bottom, gain elevation, hunting your way up. That way, when you get something, you're packing down. As the gray has come into the whiskers and on the top of the head, it's brought a little bit of wisdom on me, that, and also too, elk can move a heck of a lot faster than we can, through those mountains. We can't catch them. We can't keep up with them. And so that's where it's kind of more now where I'm using trails, whether it be motorcycle trails or hiking trails or old roads, to gain elevation. So that way I'm not having to chase them up the mountain. I'm already up on the mountain high enough and waiting for them to come to me. Because you guys have heard me talk that it's really, really tough to hunt elk in transitional areas. It's almost impossible to get a bull to turn around and come back from where he's come from, because he has that destination in mind. But when you're already up there at that level and he's coming to you, you have a much, much larger window to work that bull. So why not start a little bit higher, making sure thermals are right, then they come up to you, you're on that same elevation. Plus the fact that you're already up there, you have a much larger window to work him in than if you're chasing up the mountain. Now there's 2 ways that you can do this. If there's no trails or roads that you can use to gain elevation, sometimes it's a matter of just getting the headlamp on and starting in the dark before it gets daylight, and you gain elevation on that mountain. Now here's the benefit with that too, because it's not a bad idea to gain elevation up a ridge line, especially if those elk are feeding down below. Because remember, they're pretty vocal at night, and especially early in the season, you can gain that elevation. Now all of a sudden you're hearing bulls bugling. Now you know which ridge they're coming up on, and you can adjust. So, you know, plus you have a good idea of where they're heading to that bedding area. So now you're already there, thermals are good, and you don't have to worry about chasing them up the hill and those morning thermals switching and all of a sudden start blowing uphill, and there goes all your elk off the mountainside. Okay. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the other thing that came up in the conversation, and this question gets asked a lot. How close do I move in on the elk? How close should I get? Is 3, 4, 500 yards away good enough? No. You want to get as close as possible. And you guys have heard me say this before. If your maximum effective shooting range is 40 yards, get 100 yards from that elk, because it's a lot easier to call him 60 yards than 160 yards. So if you can pull him 60 yards from his cows, he's 40 yards from you. He's in your maximum effective range. A lot of head shaking.
Yeah.
I can even see Sandy. I can't see Sandy shaking his head, but I can hear it.
Now, don't be making fun of those two things rattling around up there.
It's all right. All right. So one of the guys that was saying he don't remember ever seeing. He actually got the link tonight, but he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it. My wife has tickets to a minor league baseball game." All right,
Well,
Dave.
we'll be over before she gets home from the game.
Yeah, exactly. So no, that's all right, David. Go spend time with the wife. Enjoy your baseball game, and just remember, 2 weeks from now we'll have another one, and you'll get the link Wednesday morning. Yeah, today's Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wapiti Wednesday. So Wednesday morning. I don't know. So all right, that's really about it, guys. What questions you got?
That's a meaningful session. Good job. Yeah.
No question. Everything's
I've got.
crystal clear. You got it dialed in. Good to go.
Oh, I got it dialed in.
Good.
I do. My hunt does start September 1.
Perfect time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you notice what the moon's doing then?
No, but I'll bet you in 2 weeks we'll talk about the moon phase calendar, the autumn equinox, and I'll do my rep predictions.
All right. Good deal.
I have a feeling that's going to be the topic for the next. There's a good chance about that.
So it was last year, just before you took off. Yeah, you talked about moon phases.
Yeah, we'll pull up Moon Giant. We'll go through the. I've already looked at it, and I'll give you a little teaser. We have something happening this year in September that we have not had for a while. In regards to the moon phase.
A blue moon.
Nope.
Nope.
Super moon.
Oh, super moon. Okay.
And it happens 4 days before the autumn equinox.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're getting rid of all my excuses.
To what? Go hunt the whole month?
No, why I didn't get an elk.
Well, there is only so much knowledge I can give you. I can't come pull the trigger for you. So, so you guys know that Liz is on her journey to join us this year, right? With her bow on the first hunt. So a couple of weeks ago, we were over shooting, and she was just frustrating, just because consistency was off a little bit. She was struggling, and so I kind of talked to her a little bit about the 6-9 pin bubble 6-9 drill. Do you guys know what that is? Okay. So one of the ways that you can make sure that your peep sight and your sight housing line up is you do a little thing called a 6-9 pin bubble 6-9. So when you draw back an anchor, you put your pin on the target, and the first thing that you do is your eyes come down to the 6 o'clock position and make sure that you're not here, that you're lined up. Then you come over to the 9 o'clock position, and again, make sure that you don't have daylight. That basically, if you check your 6 o'clock and your 9 o'clock and you're lined up, the rest of it's going to be lined up too. So you go 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock pin down to your bubble to make sure you're level, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock back to pin, and then start your shot execution. So I was working with her on that, but she was still just kind of struggling a little bit. And when we left, I could tell she was frustrated. And I told her, I said, babe, it's okay. I hate shooting dots also. Circles, dots, they bore me. I said, I do better on animals. So I went online, and there's a new company called Dead Nuts Outdoors that they have a target that is actually a two-dimensional target, but it's an actual picture of an elk broadside. And you put that in front of a normal target. So I bought that. We took it up to camp this past weekend, and you put it in front of a normal target. So I put it in front of my matrix target, but it was really cool because I was able to take Knox and Liz up there and go, here's the leg bone. Now you have this leg bone that comes at an angle like this, and then you have the shoulder blade. And Knox was like, oh, look, you can see the outline of the shoulder blade and the crease that goes from the elbow right up. You could see the crease. And I said, look, you guys have heard me say that when I know I'm going to shoot that elk, I start burning a hole in the side. I look for a tuft of hair that's sticking out, or a glob of mud or something like that. And that's where I'm going to focus my shot on. Well, this picture of the bull has about a 2-inch diameter mud spot right above that crease. And so this past weekend, Liz and Knox just hammered that dot. And then I was able to take them off to the right and talk about quartering away. And now you don't want to stick it in the middle of that dot. You want to stick it, 3 o'clock. And Knox was like, oh, 3 o'clock, whack, right there. And I mean, he just drilled that 3 o'clock on that mud dot. But here's the cool thing about this too, is now, because these guys are shooting on this thing so much, that especially with Liz, now comes September, now all of a sudden imagine a bull walks out within shooting range. She doesn't have to guess. She doesn't have to go, now where do I need to hold? Because she's already shot 100 or 200 shots on that target. And she knows exactly where to hold. And they come with replacement vitals. So it's really cool. So if you shoot the vital out, you just get another vital. So
What's the name of that again?
Dead Nuts Outdoors.
Okay.
So Dead Nuts is one word, but they have a broadside elk, they have a frontal elk, they have mule deer, whitetail, antelope, black bear, a strutting tom turkey, and a side profile turkey. So great training tools, especially for visualizations, understanding anatomy, and knowing really where to put that pin and execute that shot.
Cool.
Okay,
Good.
now if you guys can help me figure out what reed I'm going to use this year, or reeds, that would be great.
You got too many to choose from.
Well, you can see we're doing some testing.
Yeah,
So
of course.
yeah.
You're always welcome to mail me some more if you need less in your selection.
Yeah. Well, I know when that Native by Carlton box showed up and I opened it, I sent Mark a lesson or a message and told him, dude, I didn't need that many reeds. And his response was, well, you got to make friends somehow. Give them away.
I tried one of these this week. I liked it.
The tagged out?
Yeah.
You mean that one?
Yes.
Did you try the Land of the Free?
I did not get that one. No. I can try it though.
Land of the Free and the September are good too.
If you have any of those, throw them in that Ziploc.
I do, but those have my slobber on them.
I'll pass. I'll pass.
Okay. You can just wash them off. So. Okay. You guys know the Hunter's Tube from Native, right? Yeah, but Greg, does yours have this?
No.
The Mac Daddy?
No, it does not. I still have the one you told me to electrical tape my mouthpiece on there last year because it might fall out. So I still have that.
Yeah. Well, that mouthpiece was originally designed to be able to come out so that this Mac Daddy could slide in when we were developing it. So, and then the Mac Daddy is just a push button
Right.
bugle. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to find some, I don't know, I might have to find a plastic shot glass or something that I can drill the bottom out of to slip over this. And so that way you have a flared end for doing a lip bowl on this. So, but those are now available too.
I made that from Home Depot. That makes a huge opening for me.
Is that what you put on that?
Yeah. Well, if I take the mouthpiece out,
And then slide that in?
it'll screw in,
Oh, wow.
and then you can lip ball easily now.
Yeah. Well, because that's,
If you want it smaller,
yeah, because that's like that prototype tube I'm working on.
Yeah.
That thing's got a real wide mouthpiece on it too. So. Okay. Uh-oh, Sandy's turning his camera back on, which means either he's done eating or he has a question.
I just had a comment. I went and set my game cameras Wednesday last week. I bought an e-bike to zip up and down some of them roads and commute to and from work. Man, that's nice. But I had a 6-point bull cross in front of me. Didn't know I was there. I was 40 yards from him. It was pretty cool. Unfortunately, that's a spike only unit, so it wouldn't do me much good in real scenario. But it was still fun to see. Still full velvet and all.
No, but you can shoot your spike and then stay in there and call and play around with that 6-point and work on calling scenarios.
Yeah, that was the same unit. I played with that bull for an hour and a half last year.
Yeah. No, that's what's nice about those e-bikes is they're nice and quiet and riding in. I mean, that's why, we have those electric motorcycles just because we can zip in quiet, we can still hear bugles and not interrupt anything, and they're fun to ride.
I took a photo of a game trail on a wallow out there. It looks like it's a logging road that is driven on all the time. It's just worn flat, 10-foot wide. There's nothing alive in the middle of it.
Wow.
So I got my camera on that trail. I figure if there's a spike in the area, he'll be on the camera.
That's what I did because my oldest son, he hunts with his friends and stuff, and so he sent me a text and he's like, "Have you been out scouting?" I'm like, "Of course I've been out scouting." He goes, "How many cameras do you got out?" I go, 7. Getting anything on them? And so I started sending him pictures of all the spikes, and that's all I was sending him was the spikes. He's like, "What the heck? Do you just have a bunch of spikes?" And I'd send him 2 or 3 pictures, and I'd be like, "Man, it's going to be a great year." 2 or 3 more pictures of spikes, and finally he's like, "Are you seriously just a bunch of spikes? It's going to be a great year." And then I started dropping the other pictures. All of a sudden he's like, "Oh, that's a good bull." And he's like, what if I want to come hunt with you guys this year? And I'm like, nope, you made a pact with your guys, your buddies. You guys already picked up your tags. Follow through on the commitment. So, but anyways, so all right. Anything else, guys?
I did want to run by you that bull I ran into.
Yeah.
Not another elk near him. I say he might have been a 260, 280. He wasn't big for a 6 point, but completely by himself, nothing else near. Any ideas?
Yeah, because usually once they get to a certain age class, they like solitude. So remember they don't always go into bachelor groups. Sometimes there's bulls that just like solitude, and they only come around once the rut's going on and it's time to round up cows and do all that stuff. And man, as soon as they're done with the breeding, they branch off and they're off on their own again. So
Okay.
so
I just
it could just be that he just likes being by himself, or the other bulls that were with him may have already crossed before you got there, or maybe they were back behind and saw you
no.
riding. I mean, who
Yeah,
knows?
he went and laid down. He had gone down to water at the creek and then went and laid down, and then I jumped him out of his bed because I had to get through.
Ah,
But he was by himself.
yeah, yeah, just a solo bull, just lone wolf.
Yeah. I know I jumped at least two other groups out of there while I was moving through. That area is just full of elk. So there ought to be a spike or two amongst them.
Yeah. What's going to be your calling approach? Or are you going to sit water,
Um,
or what are you going to do?
I think I'm going to sit water holes because I had surgery Wednesday last week on my knee, so I'm not the most mobile.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of wallows in the area that are pretty good. There's not a ton of other water around there, so as long as I can beat the other hunters there,
Yeah.
I think I might do okay.
Good luck with that knee.
Yeah. Take
Yeah,
care of it.
appreciate it.
It's got to
Yeah,
last.
and remember too that breeding sequence works on spikes.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, the spikes are usually the ones that just come rolling in. Also, too, when's your season start?
September 7
September 7th.
goes to the 18th, I think.
Yeah, if you're going to go the 7th, just start with the breeding, just stay with the breeding sequence. I was going to say if you were a little earlier towards the 1st of September, you can just kind of do that inviting cow routine. Because spikes early in the season, I mean, you belch the right way, they come running in.
Uh, well, hoping to finally get one this year. It's been 5 years.
Well, I got a good feeling about this year.
Yeah, I put in the legwork. It's time for it to pay out, hopefully. So
Literally the legwork with surgery.
that too.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Follow your recommendations on that knee.
yeah. Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
don't rush it.
Yeah. Don't pressure it. So I have a couple of questions, but it'll be off once we sign off.
Oh, it's those kind of questions. Okay.
Oh, hey, Michael, did you mention that that Fat Map was moving to folks?
No, so FatMap has been acquired by Strava. So Strava is an app program that was designed for hiking, mountain biking, and rock climbing. I got the email that FatMap will get absorbed into Strava. I haven't had a chance to really dive into the Strava platform yet to see how the FatMap's going to integrate with it and see if we're gonna have access, because majority of what Strava has is a paid platform. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I do need to dive into that and kind of see what it is. And Kevin, when you get to the e-scouting tutorials, you will learn about FatMap. But with it switching over to Strava, sounds like I might have to remove those videos because
I was wondering about waypoints and all the markers I have in FatMap.
if they're going to transfer over.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
It said
You
there
were
was a way to
talking.
move them.
You had a
yeah,
different.
th- there is a way to export and get those over onto Strava. So it can be done. You might have to watch a Strava tutorial, but or go on to FatMap and see. So, but Kevin, FatMap is a scouting tool. I mean, it's a map just like Onyx or Base Map or this or that, but it has some um, overlays that for finding north and northeastern facing timber, it is probably the best program to find bedding areas just because it's all color coded and you just look for these two shades of blue and it's like, oh, there's that, there's orange, that's a southern facing slope or southern facing, face for them to feed on. And it's been my number one favorite tool to start on for years, but now it might be going away.
What was the one you mentioned that you were moving to, or you were talking to us about a different app?
Oh, is that Spartan Forge?
That might be it. I couldn't remember the name.
Yeah, Spartan Forge. So it's a just another app that's free. God, I haven't even been into that thing for a while, but some of the 3D, the only reason I was using Spartan Forge for a while, I mean, everything's on Onyx, but the only reason I was using Spartan Forge is their 3D maps and rendering were just a little bit better than Onyx. And so it was just that 3D view that I was using more in Spartan Forge.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like we can get through this year's September season with
With
Fat.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it gives
Yeah,
us a
it's
year
it's
to.
it's not going to be until October, November. So, but I'll dive into it and kind of see what I can find out, and then I'll let everybody know about that. So, okay. Anything else? I know, Greg, you want to stay on. You got a couple of questions. Kevin, you good?
Others can stay on if they want. I don't. They aren't private questions.
Oh, well then just throw them out there.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted out to the public. That's. Are there discount codes for the websites that we purchase things from? Like you recommend this or that, and I've tried when I've gone out like on Born and Raised. I went out to buy these. Uh,
I do
easy,
not. I don't have a discount code with Born and Raised right now.
yeah, I tried ECA 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And I went, oh, I don't think they're any higher than that. So,
Yeah, no codes with Born and Raised. Native by Carlton, ECA 20.
all right. So that's what I needed. Then I can try to pick up one of those mouthpieces for this too.
God, I'm trying to think.
But there's nowhere on the course site or the website that tells the members here are codes for
Oh, yes, there is.
that's what I needed. That's the info I needed.
I think it's in the community section.
Okay, guys, I'm signing out.
Okay, have a good night, Larry.
See you in a couple weeks.
Okay,
See you,
sounds
Larry.
good.
Kevin, nice meeting you.
Great to meet you as well. Thanks a lot, Larry.
You're in Idaho, right?
Yes, sir. Yep, over by Lake Lowell.
I fly fished Idaho a number of times, but my best fly fishing buddy died on me, so I haven't been
Oh,
back in a while.
where are you from?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. All
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
My grandmother grew up there.
Oh, cool. Cool. All right, guys, take care. God bless.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
Larry.
Second question. How do I catch up with you? With the that Ziploc of reeds, and
Yeah, I
are
mean,
you headed out of town this weekend?
Yeah, leaving tomorrow afternoon. So
You headed up 55? No, never mind.
no, I gotta head over to Oregon. So hitting 84. Um, because our new office is right there at State and 16.
16, yeah. Are
Yeah,
you in the office tomorrow?
yeah, I will be until like 1, 2 o'clock.
I have tomorrow off. I can swing by.
Okay, okay, yeah, I'll make sure I take him with me and have him there at the office.
Yeah, which quadrant are you on? Northeast, northwest?
Just come in the front door. You got to come in the front door and deal with the gatekeeper. She'll call me and then I'll come on down.
Yeah, but which quadrant of the intersection?
So actually, it's right before 60. You can't miss it. It's a 3-story building just on the north side, right before 16, and you'll see the Wright Brothers logo.
Oh, so come in on Chinden
Nope,
or
State Street.
State? Oh, come in on State. Okay, I'll do that.
Yes, yeah, State heading towards 16, and then right before 16, you'll see the big 3-story building on the north side.
Okay. I thought it was at Chinden and 16. So,
No, State and 16.
okay. Can do.
Okay, yeah, I'll take those, have them there. So that it?
Great session.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Kevin. Where in Idaho are you?
I'm over in the Caldwell area.
Or Caldwell, by Lake Lowell.
Yeah.
I'm in Eagle.
Okay, awesome. I'm just getting all my bow stuff set up again and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you guys ever want to go shoot or whatever.
Good little group you posted the other night.
Yeah, it sucked today. It was,
Feel like you were holding the bow upside down and backwards.
yeah, it was ridiculous. I got to go back out after this and redeem myself.
Well, so now actually go out there and play with that pin 6-9 pin bubble 6-9 drill.
I didn't know that there was that was an actual drill. That's what I do.
Yeah,
Because I've been shooting a long time.
right.
And so it's kind of the same thing on my scope. I have a bubble at the bottom, so I'm always checking that too.
Yeah,
But
but you
yeah,
can,
definitely.
because you can sit there, and I mean if you're just off a little bit from here up to here, that's going to cause you to hit low. The string here versus here, that gives you your left rights. And I mean, archery can be a frustrating game that really plays on those things. The other thing too is, because I was standing on the side behind Liz when she was drawing, and she would sit there and draw, and then she would shoot, and I wouldn't even look at the target, and I'd be like, "You hit high." She's like, "How the heck did you know that?" I said, "Because you were bringing your hand up onto the spot, and you executed the shot, and your hand continued up." And then, like a couple of shots later, I'm like, "You hit low." "How do you know?" And I said, "Because you came up to the dot, and then you settled back down, and your hand was dropping as you shot." And then it was like, "Oh, now you hit right." Why? Because you peaked. So I got her to the point where it's like drawing and just leave that pin on the dot for as long as you can and then execute the shot, because that forces you to settle. Okay. Now, here's the other thing too, and this is crazy how this works. Because you will sit there and you'll have your hand and you'll be like, "Get that pin on the dot," and you're trying to force your hand to get that pin on where you want to hold, right? But it ends up you start doing this a lot because you're forcing it. Come up, come on the dot, and then take your eye focus off of your pin and drill it. So you don't focus on your pin, you focus on the target. So quit trying to hold that pin where you want to hit, but get your eye to focus on where on the target you want to hit. Your pin will naturally settle there. You don't have to try to force the pin on there. Just focus where you want to hit on that target, and your pin will automatically drift there on itself.
Awesome.
Now I want to go out and try and shoot, see if that that
You
helps.
just want to go try and see if I'm full of BS or not.
Oh no, no, I want to improve.
Yeah. So no,
I may go get my bow.
that's a mental aspect thing, because in our mind, if we sit there and because we're focusing on the pin, we're not focusing on the target at that point, and that's why we're fighting that so hard, trying to get that. That's why sometimes when you're focusing on the pin so hard and it feels like you have a boat anchor in your hand, because here's the dot and your pin's sitting right here, and you're like, God, I can't get that pin up where I want to, and you're trying, because you're focusing on the pin too much. Focus here and that pin will just automatically just come right up on there. And we will end the session with that little bit of useless information for tonight. So, all right, appreciate all you guys tuning in. As always, keep calling, keep practicing. More importantly, though, have fun. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks when we will break down the autumn equinox, the moon phase calendar, and my prediction for the rut activity for the month of September. So,
Yay.
all right, guys, have a good one. Good night, y'all.
All right, have a good weekend.
Again, great meeting everybody.
Nice to meet you, Kevin.